Welcome to the Horror Hangout podcast where film fans watch the best and worst horror movies of all time and talk about them. My name is Ben Errington, and today I'm joined by a very special returning guest. Stu Freeman is a geeky queer YouTuber, gig promoter, gamer, and horror fan. Welcome back to the show, Stu. Hello.
Thank you. I'm really, really glad to be back.
Glad to have you back. It's just the two of us today. Andy he's been haunted asylumed, I think. That's the last thing he said. The last he rang me up and there was like a weird kind of like pss, 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 some sort of noise like that. And I said, "Are you all right, mate?" And he said, "I've actually been asylumed." And I said, happens to the best of us. See you soon, mate.
Hate it when that
All the best.
happens.
I absolutely hate it when that happens. Just before we were recording, we're talking about last time you were on, which was Late Night with the Devil, which feels like that was not that long ago, was it? A few
I think it's
months?
like April or something. Was it maybe before?
Wow. Okay. Has anything topped? I know actually you weren't much of a fan of like Late Night with the Devil, were you? I was just about to say, has anything topped Late Night with the Devil for you?
Not
Has
really.
anything horror movie of the year come close to, uh, whatever your favorite was at that point when we discussed it?
Do you know what? I have missed so many horror films this year that I really wanted to see, and I either haven't had the chance to, or it's got to the point where I'm like, there's only one showing now, and it's at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday, and I can't go, so I'll just wait.
Oh
And because
God.
I've got a projector, I just wait for things to come streaming or like DVD, and then I just watch them at home. So I'm waiting for like Long Legs and Maxine and loads of others. It's just yeah, I'm
Oh, so you've not seen those? I see.
no,
I
I've been
see.
really bad this year. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. No need to apologize. It's all good because now you can treat yourself to all of the horror films in one go. Pretty
Exactly.
much, you can just binge everything, can't you?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so so does that mean you haven't seen The Substance, which we discussed last week? You've not had a chance to see that?
I haven't yet, but I am going to see that at the end of the month. So it's going to be on, I believe it's on at the Cube in Bristol, which is like a sort of little art house film,
Mm.
like little art house cinema, sorry. And yeah, me and my friend have got tickets to see it there. So I am going to see that, but after everyone else has seen it for some reason.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's all right. If as long as you avoid the spoilers, which I don't think I've seen too many of online, which is good, which is
Yeah.
handy. October, we're fully into October now. Can't believe we're 7th October. The countdown to Halloween begins. Is there anything that you particularly do this time of year? Are there any films that you return to watch this time of year?
Yeah, so Trick or Treat's always a big one.
Hmm.
Like, brilliant anthology movie. Can't really top that one. Um, I did a YouTube video a couple of years ago now, I think, which was horror movies set on Halloween night. And that's
Nice.
yeah, it's got some favorites in there. It's got like Hell House LLC and things like that. So those are the ones that I tend to go back to because they are actually movies that I watch. So yeah, that and like Ginger Snaps and stuff. So they're the kind of ones that I'm going through at the minute. But I really want to do a franchise. Like I want to start something and just watch all the movies in a row. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Anything that you think you'd fancy for that?
I mean, I just bought a Nightmare on Elm
Oh
Street.
yeah.
So I think maybe I could do the Nightmare on Elm Street films, even the reboot. I'll do them all. I'll do the TV series.
Yeah, I feel like Nightmare on Elm Street films are varied enough that it's not too much of a slog. I feel like with something like Halloween, no disrespect to Halloween, I feel like around about 4 and 5, it starts to get to a point where you're like, ah, come on now, this
Yeah.
is silly. I think with a Nightmare on Elm Street, it's like obviously we got Dream Warriors and everything, and then especially when New Nightmare and stuff like that, films that are like it's a completely different sort of Freddy experience, isn't it? So
Yeah, exactly. And you've got Freddy versus Jason, which is still hilarious. So yeah,
it
get through
sure is.
that.
What are your thoughts on the remake? I did see something. It's strange you say that. I saw a Nightmare on Elm Street T-shirt on sale somewhere. I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't until I got a little bit closer that I went, "That is definitely the remake."
Yep.
I can't be wearing that. Come on.
Yeah, it really annoyed me. There was I think it was last year, last Halloween, there was like a Nightmare on Elm Street section in Primark. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. I love it. And getting closer and closer and being like, please have something for Dream Warriors. I've already got a cool Dream Warriors
Oh
t-shirt.
yeah.
Have something. And it was all from the remake. And I was like, what are you doing of all
What's
the films?
someone somewhere has gone, right, what's a popular horror film? Someone went on Nightmare on Elm Street. They've just IMDb'd it and they've gone, well, the last one came out this year, so 2010.
Yeah.
That must be the one that everyone likes.
Yeah.
Surely. Absolutely. Do you know what? I don't really remember much about it. And I think I quite like Jackie Earl Haley in
Mm.
stuff he's in, but I don't know. It was just it was the impossible task, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
It was never gonna
Yeah.
be a good.
They put like a little spin on it. I remember that there's like a couple of things that they changed. It also kind of annoyed me that when Freddy was a guest character in Mortal Kombat 9, it was the remake version of Freddy.
Oh wow.
It
No
wasn't
way.
even Robert
Sure,
England. That
I mean, surely not. I mean, what quips would he have had? Did he even have quips
no,
in
he
Nightmare on
had
Elm
nothing.
Street? He did.
He didn't even. He wasn't really like funny or silly in the movie either. He didn't have that. He was just trying to be creepy all the time. So
Yeah.
it didn't really have that like Freddiness about it, in my humble opinion.
The gritty reboot. Friday the 13th remake was I remember it just being just I mean it wasn't great, but it wasn't like well, I can't remember much about it. Do you remember it very much? I remember obviously we start off with him in final form Jason,
Yeah.
hockey mask and everything with that film, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is a weird way to go, but I suppose it's the only way you could go with something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, because I feel like that franchise has come such a long way that people will be confused. Just the average audience, and I hate the fact that we pander to the average audience, but still,
Yeah.
people were like, "Hang on a minute, is Mum? Hang on a minute, oh sackhead, confused."
Yeah, I
Um,
think not that many franchises that have done prequels really well. I think the only ones that I really enjoyed were the Texas Chainsaw Massacre ones, where it was like the one that was sort of in the middle of the 2000s, maybe I want to say.
yeah, I
Had like
watched
the Texas Chainsaw and then the beginning, and those two movies
the
were actually
beginning. Yeah, I
yeah.
watched them both fairly recently. Now the one with oh God, what's her name? The I can't remember her name now.
Oh, Jessica Biel, is it?
Jessica Biel, that's it. What is that name? For some reason I was thinking Kate Beckinsale, even though I knew that was
Hey, British.
incorrect. I think like that film and Texas Chainsaw at the beginning have got this kind of weird mid 2000s sun bleached horror look. Like
Yeah.
Wrong Turn, The Hills Have Eyes remake, this film. Uh, and there's something about it because I was kind of like a teenager around about those times. I do like something about it. It does feel like it belongs to me in a way. Does that make
Mm.
sense? You know what?
Yeah, it's weird how the grading has kind of like dated those films, but in a good way. It's kind of
Yeah,
giving you a sort of decade of like this is how we films looked in the 2000s, and you either
yeah,
love it or you just got on with it. But I think most people are kind of I don't know they've got that sort of really nice memory of things like that, and like I don't know Soul Survivors and maybe 13 Ghosts and stuff like that, where the
yeah, yeah,
grading is just so harsh, but
yeah,
it's great.
definitely. House on Haunted Hill, just that kind of thing where everybody's face is going like this all the time, just like shaking around. Go, oh yeah, yeah, that's from a film from that era. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning suffers from a similar thing that I complained about before we recorded in terms of prequels, whereas it's just the same film as the one before. It's
Yeah.
like this same thing happened once to all these other people, and this is the beginning of it. It's like, what? Not really. I think at one point they go, oh, Leatherface had a job. Like Leatherface was punching the clock somewhere, like working in a
Post office.
obviously in the post office. Can you put that on the scales, please? Oh, no, I'll pass it to you. Don't you? No, obviously an abattoir or something, just a bit cliche, wouldn't it? Like, oh, come on, don't typecast him in that way. You could do other things.
He could have been a gardener, chainsaw. He would have been, that would have made
That's
sense.
true. That's
Yeah.
true. And I
Yeah.
do love the fact that when we get the 2022 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I love the fact that all the sequels have been completely vetoed. So basically, since he went on a killing spree, he's just been chilling for 40 years.
Yeah. Absolutely.
40 years. Basically ready to go. All he needs is just that little push and he'll go straight back into even though they're saying like, oh, he's 70 years old.
Yeah, he's just got a chainsaw by the door just in case. It just keeps looking at it like me and
Yeah,
you. Like,
you gotta get over it. Leatherface, you gotta get over this. You've been staring at that chainsaw for 35 years. My day will come.
yeah,
And then it did.
exactly.
Um, cool. Couple of little bits of horror news. Two gaming or gaming adjacent piece of horror news. Literally just before we started recording, the news dropped that Alien Isolation. I'm gonna say Alien Isolation 2, but I doubt that's what it's gonna end up being called. An Alien Isolation sequel because Alien Isolation just turned 10, so I guess as a celebration of that somewhat, the devs have announced that they're in just in early production, they said, didn't they? In
Yeah,
early development,
which means years. It's going to be at least 2 years until we see anything.
which means years, which is all right. I can be patient for that, you know. It's definitely worth the wait. Um, Again, I'm sure we've discussed this before, but you're a fan?
Yes and no. So I love
Okay.
the Alien Isolation, and it is terrifying until it's not. It gets about halfway through the game, and instead of being like, "Oh my God, the alien's going to kill me," it's more just piss off. Just you do
Yeah,
stuff to do. I need to go and get a crank. I need a spanner. I've got like
yeah.
robots after me. I don't want to hide under a table
They're
anymore.
doing it.
Like there, I'm out of lockers. Like, can we just pack it in now? And that annoyed me. And after a while as well, when you get to the end of the game, sorry, spoilers if anyone hasn't played it, you've had 10 years. You get to the end of the game and you're literally just like covered in guns and flamethrowers and
Mm,
rocket launchers and stuff, all the things that you know can kill a xenomorph, and you
yeah.
still can't kill it. So,
No, just runs away.
yeah.
I'm
So
gonna flamethrower you. Ah, he's ran away again.
yeah, oh, he's gone. He's gone into a vent, never to be seen. Oh, he's back. So yeah, it kind of it was great until it wasn't, and then
Mm,
like as much as I still love that game, it kind of frustrated me after a while. Did you
yeah.
enjoy that? What do you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I tried to pick it up and play it again. So I did. I think I bought it when it came out and got really stuck and left it for a while. Then I picked it up again and finished it and played all the DLC that came out as well because there was like an Alien, like a 1979 Alien DLC, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I did randomly recently try and pick it up and play it again, but I just wasn't in the mood. I feel like you've got to be really in the mood for because if you're used to playing games where like you can fight back or you can kick ass and stuff, like it's quite a passive. You're kind of a bit of a passenger in the game. Like, yeah, you're hiding, but I did watch a video recently talking about how the AI works for the Xenomorph, which was pretty fascinating, and like where on the map it would drop in and how it works and how why it seems so intelligent.
okay,
That is worth a watch. I can't remember what YouTuber made that. Might have to try and find it.
yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's a great piece of alien media in a time when alien media was, you know, not really satisfying, not really scratching the itch, really, was it? So, um, absolutely well in the mood for that. But it's kind of I do kind of hate it when things like this happen. You go, oh, 10 years ago this came out, and you realize that 10 years have gone by in the blink of an eye.
Literally blink of an eye. Do you have like a favorite Alien game though? Because there's been a few absolute
Yeah.
stinkers, but there's been some really good ones.
Have you made a video of this?
No. Well, I've made a video that had that was about horror games and it had Alien Isolation in, and
Hmm.
it wasn't very high on the list, and a lot of people gave me some shit for that.
Oh, did they? Okay. I had Alien Trilogy on PS1 that I really enjoyed. Uh and I think I played it on a stream like a little while ago. And I think that was the first time I'd actually beat it. Like I hadn't beat it before. Really
Right.
difficult, but I feel like that when that game came out and I'd seen Aliens for the first time, probably a little while before that. All of the sound design, the pulse rifle, the motion sensor and that just became ingrained in me so that now like whenever I hear it it's like, oh, yeah, just takes you back. There was what is it, the Alien Free like sort of platformer? It was maybe I think maybe on Mega Drive. I don't think I don't think I owned it, but I think I knew somebody who did, and I remember playing that and that being really difficult as well. Um, I think I've played some of the like Colonial Marine games. I know that one was buggy and awful and terrible.
Yeah.
I think I maybe bought it for like 50p at one point and then and then played it for like an hour, you know, 50p for an hour. Why not?
Valid.
Um, valid, but Alien Isolation, like the way it's kind of realized all the technology, all the analog technology, all the sound design, all the set design, all the, they've just perfected it, haven't they, really? Like I feel like it is perfect for like an action game, but I just feel like you lose a lot of what makes Aliens or the Alien franchise cool when you just make it an action game because yeah, I don't know. What about you? Have you got one?
For me, I think, I mean, obviously, Isolation in terms of it being a horror game was great. I do love me an action game, and Alien versus Predator on the 360, where it was a first person shooter, and you could play the alien, the predator, or marine, and that was actually really good, and all the stories kind of
Oh
intertwined a little
yeah, yeah,
bit.
yeah.
That surprised me, to be honest, and that had some
Okay.
scary bits in it, and it was well done. I mean, playing the alien wasn't that great, but playing the predator was really satisfying, so I quite like that. I did have Alien 3 on the Mega Drive, and I pretended I loved it, but it was so ridiculously difficult.
It was hard. Yeah, it was. It
Yeah,
was a hard one, wasn't it? Yeah.
everything was back in the day.
It
Everything was,
was. Yeah. Yeah, I
but that
remember
was
that.
yeah, that was really difficult. And apart from that, I don't think really there's been another one apart from I tried Fire Team and I enjoyed that for a little bit, but um,
Yeah, I tried Fireteam as well, I think. I don't know, was there a demo? Was there like something? I swear I've played a little bit of it. And yeah, I don't know, that sort of format of the Alien game has never really grabbed me, I guess. But you know, if you do like stuff like that, Dead Space exists. We can go and play Dead Space if we want. Um I suppose that's a bit I would say I prefer that to Alien Isolation just because yeah, you can fight back essentially. You can kill things. You can stomp things to death, which is very, very satisfying. Um, okay, so that's Alien Isolation 2, whatever they want to call it. Alien, I don't know. What could they they'll call it Alien something, won't they? Alien. It's good that it's this character, Ripley's daughter, that we can continue with as well. And the other bit of kind of gaming news is that David F. Sandberg's Until Dawn movie has wrapped filming over the weekend, around about the same time that there was a Until Dawn remaster that's just released on PS5, and I guess maybe I don't know if it's PlayStation exclusive. I've heard it's kind of like not good enough to be called a remaster, really, because the original kind of still looks pretty good, and this one obviously looks a bit better, but not really that much. And I think people are a bit unsure of why it's even become a thing. I've definitely not been drawn to it at all. Have you played Until Dawn?
I mean, I played it a long time ago, and I quite enjoyed it. But then it was what PS4, and PS4
PS4, yeah.
still great. Like those
Yeah.
graphics are still really good. So I don't think it really needed a remaster.
No.
But I mean, that
I
was the same as Last of Us 2. Like they did a remaster for that, and I still bought it. So
Yeah, I feel like Last of Us is slightly different in that I feel like yeah, I know what you mean. I feel like with The Last of Us, I've like in my head it still looks good, so I don't need to go back to it because I'm like, oh, even if I played it on PS3 or PS4, I'm like, it still looks pretty good in my head. I don't need to now have a PS5 version to re-experience the same game. That being said, I think I've probably played the original maybe like six times, so that's more than enough, isn't it? What could an Until Dawn film be, though? Are we talking just like a standard slasher fare? Obviously, I don't want to spoil things for anyone who hasn't finished the game, but um, yeah, I guess standard slasher fare. That's
must
all it
be.
can be. Because you can't
Yeah,
there can't be anything where you have to like save characters, which is what the main crux of the game was. Um, so yeah, what's
choose
what's
your own
what's
adventure.
what was that?
It's choose your own adventure kind of thing, isn't
Choose
it?
your
You
own
got
adventure type of thing. Yeah, we did play the Quarry as well, which was very similar to Until Dawn. So similar, in fact, that at one point while playing the Quarry, I forgot I was playing the Quarry, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'm playing Until Dawn currently," and I was like, "Oh wait, no, I'm not." It's so similar, even like the twist or like some reveal. It's so similar. It's ridiculous. It's like, come on. Get some new ideas. The only other piece of news I was going to say was that Forbidden Worlds Film Festival, which we've talked about on the show before and attended before, is in Bristol, and it happens this weekend, Friday and Saturday. It's Stranger Danger. That's the theme. So things like The Hitcher. I know we did last summer. When a Stranger Calls, Opera. Those films are being shown. Don't know if you're tempted to check it out, Stu. I think I'm going to go down for. I think I'm going to go down for Opera and hopefully When a Stranger Calls as well. So the two later showings on that Friday and Saturday, if I can be free, that is.
Yeah. Have you seen The Hitcher?
I've seen The Hitcher. Yes.
I love that movie. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that would be one that I would go to see. I can't go on the Saturday, just because so my friend is putting on a cabaret show which is Susie Sue and Kate Bush themed.
Oh
So
wow. Oh
um
wow.
yeah.
That's cool. That's cool.
And I'm kind of doing the sound for it. So I've got Saturday night all sewn up. I'm going to be there for that.
Yeah, man.
And it's sold out.
Sounds.
It's a rough trade in Bristol and it's sold out.
Oh
So yeah.
wow. Well done, man. Well done. Um,
Um
Yeah, it's always been a good time for a bit of World's Film Festival. I think anyone in Bristol or nearby should go and check it out. It's a great opportunity to see some films on a big screen. I think The Hitcher and maybe Opera are 4K restorations. Um, I missed the Hitcher 4K restoration at Fright Fest as well, but I have seen that. I have seen The Hitcher and I do like it. Um, so yeah, check it out. I think after we watch Opera, I'm going to do an episode on that, but probably not until November. So wait a little while. But that is one of the Dario Argento films that I've not actually seen. So looking forward to that. Okay. What we've been watching? Anything you've seen in the last 7 days, or can be a bit longer than that, Stu, as you're not on the show every week. Anything
yeah.
horror or horror adjacent you want to recommend?
I dropped a new video yesterday which was sort of horror hidden gems, like 10 horror hidden gems. Um and the most recent one I watched that was on that was The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Um and yeah, really, really enjoyed that. Hadn't seen it before. One of my friends like recommended it. So I ended up buying it on DVD and loved it. Thought it was really, really cool. So I put that on the video. Um, and I've also watched Beetlejuice 2, which was amazing. Really, really enjoyed that. And yeah, I think that's probably about it, like horror wise. I think the only thing that I've been watching consistently, which I've now finished, is Orphan Black.
Yeah.
I've watched the series of that, which I'm not gonna lie, it blew my mind. I have
Oh
no
wow. Okay.
idea why I hadn't watched it years ago, but yeah, I thought it was incredible. Obviously, like Tatiana Maslany playing at
Mm,
least 12 characters, like 12 completely different people.
mm,
Um, was fantastic, and I just found it like really compelling. But also by the end of the series, to me, they were all just like 12 completely different humans that happened to look like her because she did such a
mm.
good job of like separating them all.
Wow.
Um,
I
so-
see.
yeah, so I watched that, and I've started the sequel series, so Orphan Black Echoes, which is the one with Kristen Ritter.
Yeah, I saw that advertised, so I've never seen Orphan Black, and I was a little bit confused as to why it was Kristen Ritter and not the actress originally. So is it like do you say a prequel series?
Sequel, so it's set in the
A
future.
sequel series. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so it's set in the future. So Orphan Black happened, and this new one's set in, I think it's like 2052 or something like that. So when
Oh
people
wow.
pop up from the old series, they're old now. Um, but like so
Mm,
far, there's been a couple of characters that have popped up from the original series, and
mm.
yeah, it's been very cool. I've enjoyed it so far. It's just very different.
Oh, cool. And you were happy with Beetlejuice then? You were
Yes.
pleased?
Yeah, so I went to see it. I think pretty much the weekend when it came out. I went to see it in the little Odeon in Bristol in the middle of the city centre.
Oh wow,
Um,
man. Oh, not been there for years.
no, same. And everyone was dressed up. It was just the whole screen was like
No
full of
way.
goths. Yeah, there's so many goths and so many people in like stripy outfits. And it was brilliant. It had such a great atmosphere because you knew that everyone there was like a big
Mm,
fan. And everyone just looked incredible. So yeah, we had a really, really good time. And then last weekend, I took my mum to see it. I went back
Oh
to the
wow,
Midlands.
you've seen it more than once then.
Yeah, yeah. So I went back to the Midlands and took my mum to see it, and she really enjoyed it as well. So yeah, I love that movie. I just think it's like, I I think I like it so much because I'm like, you well done for not fucking it up. Like I think because Tim Burton's movies have been so hit and miss for so many
Yeah.
years that I'm just like, thank you for not screwing this one up. It means a lot. So
Thanks, Tim. You've done
yeah,
the business, man, haven't you?
that's
Uh,
me.
yeah, I think I when we reviewed it, I said Beetlejuice isn't my like favorite thing ever, so like I don't really mind like which way it goes. It's not like I feel particularly like I don't feel like I've got ownership of it in some way where I'm like, oh, I know, I really love this film. So for me, yeah, it was fine. I enjoyed some. There was a particular sequence. I don't think this is a spoiler, but when we see like a bit of an origin for Beetlejuice, which I don't think we'd seen much of before, and it was like subtitled and that. I thought that was really funny. That was great. That was a great choice, I believe. Kind of a bit disappointed that the Monica Bellucci sort of subplot didn't really go anywhere. It kind of just fizzled out. That was a bit
Yeah,
disappointing, but you know, there was a lot going on. It felt
yeah,
like it was a film with about three mainline plots at the same time.
yeah. They really didn't know what to do with her, which was a shame because she had such a presence throughout the movie. She was like, whenever she was on screen, she just looked really cool.
Yeah. And that
And then
scene where like the camera was kind of like stuck in front of her and she was like just floating through scenes
yeah.
was cool.
Yeah, but then at the end they were just kind of like, oh well, we're just going to wrap this up and then get on to the rest of the stuff. And yeah,
Mm,
clearly didn't really think that one through.
mm.
But for what it was, like I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm just glad they didn't fuck it up.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen a couple of new releases. So I saw Salem's Lot, the remake of the miniseries, which is obviously based on Stephen King's novel. Um, this was pretty all right. Like I enjoyed it for the most part. It didn't take any huge leaps with the source material. I think when you look back at it, the 1979 version of Salem's Lot is also like kind of all right. It's not one of those you're like, it's an absolute classic. We can't touch it. We can't remake it, anything like that. Um, so Kurt Barlow, obviously a very iconic vampire in the original Salem's Lot, looks a bit generic in this. A bit, you know what I mean? Like generic, scary vampire. You know,
Yeah,
we understand. We've seen that. There's a really good sort of like scene that takes place at a drive-in theater which was very cool. And there's also like a little kid in it. You know, usually like in some of these films, there's like a little kid who's savvy and has got all the know-how and something. There's a kid in this who's an absolute savage. Just like not only does he like know he knows vampires better than everyone else because he's a fan of horror movies and comic books and stuff. He will not. He don't care. He'll kill someone at the drop of a hat. Just literally, just like an absolute animal. But I kind of liked it. I kind of thought it was pretty cool, to have a character like that. And then I also saw VHS Beyond. I feel like these anthology films, the fact that we're getting them pretty much every year, is awesome. I would say I'm. It feels like an event every time one drops on Shudder. This one was a bit more like sci-fi focused. I feel like I think maybe there's five shorts or five segments, and most of them are like sci-fi UFO focused. Some better than others. I feel like this is probably the weakest in the last maybe three releases. So like VHS 99 and VHS 94, I think are both really good. This one, I feel like maybe there's only two sequences that I would say are truly good. One directed by Justin Long, which proves that the film Tusk has had a lasting impact on him. That's all I'll say.
all right.
Definitely, definitely check that out. There's
Yeah.
also one directed by. Wait, let me just remind myself because I don't want to get this wrong because I think one person wrote it. So I think Mike Flanagan writes a sequence that is directed by Kate Siegel, so his
Oh,
other half, not the other way around. Which obviously, I guess I know Mike usually directs Kate when she's in front of the screen, but it's also starring Alana. Oh God, why have I forgotten her name all of a sudden? She is a she's like the IGN, right? Alana Pierce, that's it. Alana Pierce. So she's like she used to write for IGN. She's written some stuff on God of War. She's like mainly involved in video game journalism. Suddenly, she's like the main star in one of these things that's like written by Mike Flanagan, directed by Kate Siegel, very focused, and she was great. She was really good. Like just you know when it's totally unexpected when you're like, oh, I know that person, but they're not an actor. So what are they doing in this? And then suddenly they're good. You know, it's kind of confusing, but
Yeah,
in a
that
good
sounds
way.
great. Yeah, I think
Pretty.
I'm a little bit behind with the VHS films. I think I haven't seen 99 and 94. They're the only ones, but I've bought them on DVD recently, so I am going to watch them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're the only ones I haven't seen. And I enjoyed all the others. I think Viral was a bit crap, but I
Yeah,
enjoyed all of it.
maybe so. I think so. The Justin Long one in this is called Fur Babies, and that's probably it's probably the best one. It's the one I enjoyed the most. Yeah, there was one in '94 called Storm Drain, which is probably my favorite of all of the VHS segments. I think everyone kind of has their favorite, don't they?
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, but yeah, I remember watching these like the first one and the second one when they came out, and I feel like now they've got so much more budget behind them and like a dedicated audience that come back to them year after year. So I think that's really cool. And yeah, long should we have some more as well. Um, that's pretty much it though for what I've been watching horror wise. Anyway, apart from old Gonjiam, Haunted Asylum. Is that how I'm saying it? Would you say it like that? Gonjiam?
yeah,
I keep calling it Gonjam.
yeah,
I don't know why the I in that word has just vanished. Uh, so yeah, you sort of we were chatting on Instagram. You said about this film, and I was like, oh yeah, I have heard of it, and I think it is on a list for me to eventually check out somewhere. Um, but yeah, so finally checked it out, and it is kind of like an amalgamation of found footage stuff, but maybe from like 10 years ago. So it was released in 2018, but it kind of is a bit like Grave Encounters, a little bit like Deadstream, even though Deadstream is a very recent release. I don't know if you've seen that at all, Stu.
yeah. No, no, but I mean, no, I'm a massive fan footage fan, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna watch
Very
it.
similar vibes, like mounted head cams, like an audience participating, like a live sort of audience ticking over as well. Yeah, and I guess something like Grave Encounters is obviously where it gets a lot of its inspiration from Blair Witch Project as well. Um, but yeah, so let me just quickly read a little bit about it. So, Gonjiam Haunted Asylum is a 2018 South Korean found footage supernatural horror film directed by Jung Bum-shik. It's based on a real life psychiatric hospital of the same name. Terrifying. The crew of a horror web series travel to an abandoned asylum for a live broadcast. It soon encounters much more than expected as it moves deeper inside the nightmarish old building. And it is nightmarish. It is 100% nightmarish.
That's
Um,
horrible.
it's horrible. IMDb 6.5 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes 92% audience score, 76% critic score. Letterboxd 3.3 out of 5. And some choice reviews are Caitlin says the last 20 minutes nearly sent me to the ER. 4 stars, nearly. Mary Beth McAndrew says that noise will haunt me forever. If you know, you know. 4 stars out of 5 as well. Grace says at first they lolled and then they serious. Three 3.5 stars. It's true.
In fact, like,
Uh, and Tao A says pure roller coaster horror that pulls every possible trick out of the found footage playbook. 3.5 stars. Um, I mean, I guess yeah, it does. It does pull everything out of the found footage playbook. One thing I will say is I feel like everyone seemed genuinely terrified. I feel like a lot of the time in found footage films, people react in certain ways that maybe doesn't feel realistic, where you're like, just get out of there, or you wouldn't like slowly approach, you would just leg it. Um, yeah, and I feel like in terms of jump scares as well, I think they're really well done because again, they don't feel like they're signposted, they don't feel like they're led by the soundtrack, for example. We haven't got like huge shrill violins every time something terrifying. Like the jump scares usually are just like right there in your face,
yeah,
playing out in real time.
Yeah, they
exactly.
shied away from anything, which I really loved, and that was the weird thing about it because it obviously it was made in 2018, but I don't think it really became popular until the pandemic.
Okay.
Uh, for some reason, it had like a massive surge in the pandemic of everyone watching it, and it's how I got to know about it because I made my first found footage list. I think it was in 2021. And as I was researching it, and as I'd already made the video, everyone was talking about that, and I was like, now I've got to make another one. And I think when I watched it the first time, I watched it on the projector at home, and I was like, this is actually genuinely horrible. There was bits of it where it was like really unnerving, and I don't get scared by horror movies that much anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was as much as it is like so tropey now because of all of the found footage stuff. The fact that it's so technically so old, being like 2018 now, um, and it's only just got a release in the UK. It was just unavailable until now. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah, it's bizarre, but I'm well up for chatting about it.
Mm. I feel like it was genuinely scary. Like, so for me now, similar to you, watch a lot of horror movies. Like, things get under my skin and I think about them afterwards. But like for something to actually scare me in the moment, I usually kind of get like a weird kind of like goosebumpy thing going on where I kind of go like, ooh, that's my scared. Like, it's rare that I'm like, ah, or like covering my face. It
Yeah,
is usually just the, ooh, that one. And I think I had that maybe 2 or 3 times during this. So I think that shows that yeah, it is effective. Reminded me in places of like I know it's Korean, but it reminded me of some Japanese survival horror games like Fatal Frame or Forbidden Siren. I think Fatal Frame just because these cameras are mounted on people's faces and you're right there and then the faces were right there on the screen.
yeah,
Um, just that kind of un unmistakable kind of Asian horror where, there's just something about that. Obviously, yeah, it started off with things like The Ring, where just somebody with hair over their face and hair being used in different ways and just black black eyes, black lifeless eyes and creepy words. And I guess like even some of the audio was reminiscent of something like Audition, where she used to say Kiri 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 when she was getting ready to piano wire someone's foot off. It kind of
what a
reminded me of that.
legend.
What a time! What a time to be alive,
What
eh?
a legend.
What a
Yeah,
legend! What a legend!
a legend.
Yeah, she was
Um,
just having a laugh, living her
yeah,
best
I
life.
mean, yeah, Fatal Frame's a really good shout, or Project Zero as it was in the UK for some reason.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
But I love those games. They were so good. But yeah, that I get what you mean. And I love the fact that most of the this movie is practical as well. Like obviously that a lot of found footage are mostly practical effects, but there is like a couple of sort of computer generated like CGI bits and bobs, but otherwise it's mostly like in camera stuff and it's there, done really well and it's there to scare you, but you know that it's real. You know that it's
Mm,
something that's happening in front of you, which is yeah,
yeah, and I
makes
think
it
that was why their reactions for me felt so real because everyone was kind of having a laugh and a joke for a while. They had a kind of good dynamic between them as a group. You didn't really have like a douchebag character so much, which I think I don't know. I kind of felt like that was fine. I didn't necessarily need that. It was kind of a good group of people, so that when the shit does hit the fan, you do generally feel kind of sorry for them. But everyone's reactions, yeah, there's nowhere to hide. We see the reactions directly from the cameras they've got mounted on them. But yeah, it just felt real, People just legging it, people just going right. I'm out of here, into running to the corner, or don't put the doll down, please. Put the doll down. Put the put the
yeah.
doll down.
For God's sake,
Ah,
just leave it alone.
no, I won't. No, I won't put the doll down. Oh, fuck it out. It was a bit like that. Have you ever done anything like this? Have you ever gone somewhere that's like abandoned, a bit dodgy, and had a little nose about?
I was in my hometown last weekend. Um,
Is that it? Is it?
Nuneaton's about as scary as I mean, you can't get any worse, to be honest with you. No, um, um, no, I've done like scare mazes, and I love that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I'd love to do like one of the big Hollywood ones or something. I love like Fear Avon Valley and all those ones, but never gone anywhere that I think is like meant to be scary. And
Yeah.
I do wonder whether, I mean, I don't even know whether they went to the actual like asylum in the movie. I doubt it very much because it is an actual building, isn't it? But
Yeah.
um,
But then it kind of all have been practical sets, can it? Like even I don't know. Well, good question. Maybe there's a way we can find out while we're discussing it. Oh no, wait, here we go. There was some controversy because before the release of the film, the owner of the asylum filed a lawsuit against the film being shown in theaters, claiming they would have negative effects on the sale of the building. So I mean, oh wait, here we go. Most of the scenes in the film were filmed in National Maritime High School in Busan, with the production team adhering closely to the floor plan of the actual hospital to recreate exactly the same exterior and hallways. So there's someone out there trying to sell this asylum. He's gone, I've got an asylum, right? I've got it for sale. I've got Dion Dublin in from Homes Under the Hammer. He's gonna help me get rid. But there's a film coming out called Haunted Asylum. They're making out this asylum's haunted. Who are you hoping to sell this asylum to? I feel like literally all you need is the word asylum, and you know what you're getting yourself in for, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. And the fact that it does have a weird history as well of like, people either like disappearing or that like the whole place shut down like randomly. It's sort of, there was no sort of oh, it wound down because of this and that and the other. Apparently it did just close and that was it. So, I mean, you
Wow.
like make of that what you will when you're out in the market for an asylum when you're going to go and buy one.
Well, apparently you can't buy this one because it was demolished in on the 28th of May 2018. I guess that was so in March 2018, a court ruled in favor of the film being shown. And then it was demolished like 2 months later. So literally couldn't must have not been able to sell it. Must have gone. I had a buyer. I had a buyer. They're right on the edge. They're ready to hit buy. That's how you do it. That's how you do it these days. Just press buy.
Yeah.
Um,
There
and
was
then as
no
soon as
chain. There was nothing.
as soon as this film got shown, he was like, you know what, I'm out. I was gonna have a lovely. I was gonna convert this asylum to a lovely house for me and my family to live in, but now I've decided actually it's mental. I'm not
Fuck
gonna
it
do it.
down.
It's a mental asylum. It's weird how asylums haven't got much of a good reputation, isn't it?
No. Yeah, like Session 9 and Gonjiam and all the others, just, I don't think it
Yeah.
sells very well, to be honest.
Yeah. Session
Yeah,
9 is a great film as well. That's again, that's another film we've not done on this show.
what?
Um, I
Oh,
know, I know. But yeah, we probably should get around to doing that eventually, for real. Um, I don't think I've ever been in an asylum as such. I've been in a couple of weird places, just like, when you knew somewhere was abandoned and you just decided to like an abandoned warehouse, an abandoned. I did like randomly when I was pretty young. My dad's friend used to work as like a caretaker, and he was like staying on site of this like manor house, massive like sprawling estate that was just like in disrepair. Like I don't know why they need a security guard, but I stayed there and like I remember being genuinely terrified all night. I remember like sitting in a massive hall, a massive room, watching on a tiny TV, watching like David Blaine when he was stood on top of that pole. Do you remember that?
yeah, yeah.
Watching that, and then my mate going, "Let's go and explore. Let's go and explore." And it was a bit like this, just like every turn, you were just like, "There's going to be something just jumping out at me.
Yeah,
Something's going to fall down. A door's going to slam." It was pretty horrific. So I don't think it's something I would like to experience for real.
yeah.
Um,
I think it would be like genuinely terrifying to be in a place where it's just like you and a torch and just kind
oh
of,
yeah, no,
going
because
around. No.
Because when you got a torch, the shadows play tricks on you. They do, don't they? Or you see your own shadow and you go, and it sounds cliche, but you see your own big weird gangly shadow on the ceiling. You're like, what the hell's that? I get that sometimes. I get that. You know when that first moment when you wake up, I don't know, it's a bit of a cliche. You see the pile of laundry and it just looks like a man just stood there. I get that all the time, literally all the time, just like a shadow, something like that. I'm just, there's a man.
Well,
Always a
it's your
man as
fiance
well.
just with a load of washing.
What was that?
It's your fiance with a load of washing, like just.
You got to do this washing. Ah, that's even more terrifying. I don't know the settings. I don't know the settings. Can I just put everything on a cold wash? That's what they
Yeah,
tell me to do these days.
Dark's wash
Um,
day. Yeah.
I've never done that, Stu. I've admitted that before as well. I've gone my whole life never splitting up lights and darks ever. And guess
So
what?
many grey t-shirts.
And guess what? I'm still alive. So many great t-shirts. So yeah, just get everything I wear is black. That's the reason. Um, yeah. So similar to Grave Encounters as we mentioned, I guess similar to what else? What else is a bit like this? Sort of like found. I guess like Blair Witch in a way, but that's kind of like the. I know it's not the first found footage film, but it inspired so much.
Yeah, it's
Of
certainly like
course.
iconic, isn't it? I mean, my favorites are like obviously we did Taking of Jeb the Logan, which I love.
Hmm,
Um, and the Wreck films, the first two Wreck films are like my favorite found
hmm,
footage movies. Like
yeah.
absolutely. It's like I mean, they're a little bit tropey now, but it's still terrifying. The second one, like the monster at the end, is horrible. Um,
Yeah. Oh yeah, record definitely some of the best ones. I remember it was the third one at a wedding.
yeah, and it wasn't
Yeah.
found footage, and it was just a bit silly. It just
No,
didn't.
it wasn't found footage, was it? I felt like they got involved. They put a bit of found footage in there at some point. When, oh, there's someone doing the wedding video. Oh no,
It
they've been
wasn't.
killed. Um, cool. So in terms of cast, we've just got like a main cast of characters. Uh, and then one guy's like the host of this kind of like YouTube show, which is called what was it called? That YouTube
Horror
show,
times.
Horror Times. That's it. Yeah, you've got it.
The
So that's
graphics,
hat. What was that?
the graphics were great on that as well. Like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
way they did all the animation and stuff. It
yeah.
was
It was good. So that's Wi Ha-joon, who plays Ha-joon. As everyone just, yep, everyone's names are who they are in real life. They're not character names. Apart from Moon Ye-won, who is Charlotte, who, I guess that's kind of a thing in the film as well, isn't it? That she's Charlotte, because I think they laugh at it.
yeah.
Charlotte, who do you think you are? So yeah, Wee Ha-joon is kind of like that main guy. Park Ji-hyun, Oh and Ah-yeon, Moon Ye-won is Charlotte, Sung-hoon is Sung-hoon, and so on. Everyone who is in it is playing themselves, an altered version of themselves. Um, so yeah, but basically what it starts with is there's two young fellers, two boys recording their exploration of the abandoned Gonjiam psychiatric hospital. There's a rumor that the ping pong loving director of the hospital killed all the patients and then went missing. Um, and the ping pong thing is very key because when certain things happen, you might hear a little ping pong ball going on. I mean, it's quite a weird detail, isn't it? Oh, are you a mass murderer? Yeah, yeah, I've done a mass murder. And then I killed myself. All right, you're gonna haunt this place for the rest of time. Oh yeah. I loved ping pong.
Yeah.
Great. Lead with that. Lead with
Yeah.
that. You loved ping pong. Make a ping pong bounce every time you're gonna kill someone. Yeah,
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 every
yeah.
time you're going to do it, or just lob it back at them whenever they're trying to like throw a ping pong ball down. Yeah, they
Yeah,
love that.
exactly. They love that. They love the ping pong thing. Um, so there's like a room 402, which is like the intensive care unit. No one's been able to open that room before, apparently. They're trying to open the door with the fail-safe technique of hammering a screwdriver into the door. Anytime anything goes wrong in the house, that's what I do. And suddenly they hear a ping pong ball, and their broadcast ends, but not before catching a glimpse of a ghostly face. Now, this ghostly face is like peering through a like a hatch in the door, and it kind of just like pans past it, doesn't it? It doesn't like stop on it,
Yeah,
but somebody who's looking at the footage is kind of paused on that and gone, "Look, creepy face." Um,
go there.
let's go there. So, is this kind of like, someone's gone missing there? Clearly, this place is dodgy, but six of us ago, we'll be fine. We'll be absolutely fine, all six of us. No problem at all. Yeah, so they see on the news the teenager disappearance. The teenager, for some reason, got their faces blurred out, haven't they? It's just like we just saw the video of them, and it's all over YouTube apparently. And yeah, this guy Ha-joon is the owner of the YouTube channel Horror Times, and he decides to take his friends and explore the building,
Don't
as you
blame,
do.
obviously.
Don't
But I
blame
mean,
him.
I like the fact that you've got the kind of establishing bit at the beginning where they're all meeting up and they're all like it's trying to sort of figure out who each other is as well. Like it's sort of they're basically like getting to know each other, but they also seem really kind of sus as well. They're all a bit
Mm.
like trying to figure out each other.
Yeah, there's one girl who's like been to three of the seven like scariest places ever, apparently. I
That's
can't
it.
even remember what they were. There was like a Japanese forest, I guess like suicide forest, somewhere in Mexico and somewhere in Czechoslovakia, I think she said something like that. So she's been to three out of seven. This would be number four, if it counts, that is. Yeah, I wasn't even aware, like, did these people know each other before? Are they all kind of just like fans of the YouTube show getting together? Have they done anything like this before? I didn't think any of that was kind of really established.
Yeah, I think a couple of them they said were like influencers, and that's about it. I think that everyone else was that wasn't part of the horror times were either like fans of the show or just someone that they sort of invited, I guess. But which I don't know. It wasn't really explained, but then after a while, I was like, they're doing a good job of just getting involved. So whatever.
Yeah, and some of them seem like media literate, at least, don't they? Some of them are good at like presenting, or there's one person in particular who keeps kind of dropping into kind of like presenter mode, which is pretty cool. But yeah, they all meet up. They're all kind of like having a laugh, having a beer. Uh, what are they doing when they're bouncing something off the window to catch in your mouth, like a
Oh yeah,
little cherry tomato?
yeah, that's
That's
it.
that's my favorite pastime, Stu. My favorite pastime is that I go right. We've all had fun and games. Get the cherry tomatoes out. It's time.
It's
It's
time.
time. Bounce it off the window. You go outside the window and then film me from inside while I'm catching a cherry. The more I watched it, the more I went, "That's not difficult." Like they're all loving it. They're all clapping and whooping. I'm like, "That's not difficult." A cherry tomato, by its very nature, isn't that bouncy. It would hit the window, all velocity would be taken out of it, and it would just drop kindly into your mouth. He's acting like he's some sort of bloody. He's acting like he's David Blaine. Is what he's doing.
Exactly. This is the ultimate party trick, just because no one else does it. That's it. So no one else can
Yeah.
be asked to do that. So
No one's had the wherewithal to think about something as tedious as this, catching a cherry tomato in your mouth. To be fair, though, I don't like a cherry tomato. I've got a tact. This is how much I don't like cherry tomatoes, Stu. I've got to tactically make sure they've like burst before they go in my mouth.
yeah,
The act of a bursting in my mouth is never pleasant.
it's not nice. I'm one of those people that don't like tomatoes, but I like them in any other form. So tomato puree,
Yeah,
tomato ketchup, all that stuff. But I
yeah,
can't stand like the texture of a tomato. It's disgusting.
yeah. It's a weird one. Ha- half a cherry tomato, I know what I'm dealing with there. It's just when things are going in your mouth and exploding unprompted, forgive the euphemism, is when is when I say forgive the euphemism. At least with that, you're kind of expecting it with other things.
I hope
But
so.
with a cherry tomato, it's a bit like, well, anyway, we're getting bogged down in the minor details here. Uh, so they all seem to like, well, they seem to like enjoy each other's company, but essentially what they do is they set up like a live broadcast. Do they call it like the first something? The first ghost broadcast? They call it something like
Like
that.
the first live ghost haunt or something like that, isn't it? Like they're doing it live on YouTube.
The first live ghost hunt, and just say, come on, most haunted have definitely done this back in the day, without a doubt, right? Derek Akora, he's been involved.
Yeah. Derek Cora going live on TikTok.
Derek Akora, he's dead. Is he dead now? He's dead now, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah, he's dead now.
Oh God.
Oh God, the way you say that, it's like
Trying to
it's.
contact everyone.
I was trying to remember what channel Most Haunted was on back in the day. What did we watch it on?
I
Was there
don't
a
know.
channel called like Living TV or something like that?
Yeah, there must have been something like
Yeah,
that.
I
Yeah,
think
there's
so.
old Yvette Fielding on there.
A vet fielding, that's it. How do you feel about stuff like that? Do you feel like it's all a load of nonsense? Is a good
I think
laugh?
most of the time it is, isn't it? Let's face it. I mean, I'm guessing they do very similar stuff to like what they do in Gonjiam and Grave Encounters, where some of it is probably set up. And I reckon some of it is probably set up by the producers and the cast don't know about certain things, maybe.
Hmm.
But you can't go there with a film crew and then be like, oh, two corridors down, I've just heard someone slam a door, and it not be one of the crew who's like just gone for a piss or something. It's just like
Yeah,
it's obvious that something's going to happen. They don't have episodes there when nothing happens, unless
because
you watch
all
like, unsolved crimes, and then you
yeah, because
get
if
to the
nothing happens, just dead boring, isn't it? Like
yeah,
no one's
exactly,
gonna
yeah,
be. Everyone knows. Everyone knows like what to expect from these things, don't they? And there have been so many series of it where you go, if there was anything legit, it would be like public knowledge. People would be going, they've only gone and caught a bloody ghost and had a word with him. They've
yeah.
only go on TV on Most Haunted. Yeah, Derek Acora's loving it. Also, why is Derek Acora, bless his heart, passed away? Why is he not popped back up afterwards? Surely he would. He'd get over to the other side and he'd go, you know what? I dedicated my whole life and career to this stuff. I'm gonna prove it's correct.
Yeah.
Finally. But no, you don't care. He's just
Haunted
chilling.
Yvette Fielding, that's why.
That's what he's doing. He's just haunting her. Imagine a Scouse ghost coming after you as well. You know what I mean? Just like no, no offense to anyone from that area of the country. Just couldn't take it seriously, could you?
Ghosts that anyone ever sees is usually like Victorian ones, isn't it? You don't see anyone with from like
Yeah.
2000s with like
Well,
a haircut and
what are the rules? Because I think I've definitely discussed this on the show before. The rules are that when you die, like whatever outfit you were wearing, that's it then. You're
yeah,
dead. So people must have died like at a fancy dress party,
yeah,
like dressed as
Mr. Blobby.
Mr. Blobby. Like, could you get? I reckon you should be able to get a choice. Like when you die, you go to like a character creation screen, and they'll go, "Listen, this is what you were wearing tonight. Bit embarrassing. Now, if you've got any unfinished business and you do fancy haunting, you can't. It's a bit dodgy walking around as Mr. Blobby or Scooby Doo or whatever else. You could just reset to like just default status.
People
Yeah,
skin.
you can reset to your default skin, which is just like what you were wearing last night,
Yeah. Or
or
with this
you can.
DLC where you could actually like get some really sweet threads and
Oh yeah, because what would you do? So if you could do that, you'd have to get like chains hanging off you. Uh, yeah, there's so much. There's so much you could go for. Um, yeah. What got in Gonjiam? I guess the ghosts are just naked, or the ones we see are kind of like naked, or like just yeah, they're just people who are in the asylum, obviously. But most of the time, it's kind of like people are getting kind of possessed or like taken over by whatever the spooky Gonjiam essence is.
yeah. Yeah,
Like your
most of
eyes going
them like
black.
patients, aren't they? So they look like they're in sort of gowns, I guess, like hospital gown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. Um, so yeah, they make like a base camp like off the side of the road, like not far from where the asylum is. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like in
Um,
a sort of like a wooded area, isn't it? Where you've got to go through some like Blair Witch style woods to get to the asylum.
yeah, yeah, definitely not creepy. They have a bit of dinner. They have a lovely bit of dinner. Get really excited about the dinner, and then they basically set up all the technology for what they're going to use. And it is very similar to Deadstream. If anybody's seen Deadstream or on Shudder, like a couple of years ago, I think I may have listed it as one of my favorites of that year. Where you've got kind of like multicams set up and like personal cams for each of the people who are going in, and it's also being streamed to like this kind of like group inside. And it's not like what I kind of like about it is that we don't like start streaming. It's like, oh, we've only got like 100 followers, and then by the end they're like, there's 5 million people watching this. We
Yeah.
don't get that because even like at the end, it's still like 503 people watching,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
like that it's like a cultural event that isn't like a big one. It's kind of in the future, like potentially when this gets discovered and reviewed, it will be. But
Mm.
at the time, and that gives it that kind of like isolated, kind of like creepy pasta vibe, where it's kind of just one of those things that has kind of happened and not a lot of people witnessed it and knew about it. No one really knows about it.
Yeah. A bit
Urban
sad
legend
as
type of
well
thing.
because you're like, oh, everything's happening, but no one's kind of watching it. And then loads of the comments are like fake this and that, and
Yeah,
yeah, this is all staged and stuff.
because you would just assume that. Like, we've come so far that no matter what you'd see on a live stream, you would just go, "This isn't real."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you just go, "This isn't real." Like, I saw a video earlier this week of like a influencer guy like crash a McLaren like on like a on like a motorway like while it was raining. And like it does look like a genuine crash, but like your brain is wired to this so much that you just go, that was set up, that was staged, or that's a green screen. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like it looks real, it does look real, but like for some reason your brain is just, especially with like AI and everything now, like I'm so attuned to the fact that something might be AI that I I'm watching it and I'm not actually enjoying it to start with. I'm making sure I'm like setting but making sure that I don't fall for something. You know, you're like looking at it going, is this real? Is this
Yeah.
definitely correct? What is this? Okay, right. Okay, I kind of believe it now. So I feel like if I watch a live stream, no matter what I saw, if I saw people getting killed, if I saw ghosts, if I saw any sort of discovery of like, I don't know, a monster or anything like that. Of course, we're not living in a world where that's happening regularly.
Yeah.
But I just feel like in 2018, yes, but in 2024 even more so, I'm just so cynical about
Yeah.
everything.
Absolutely cynical. And I think it is like a thing of like you're sort of second guessing yourself now because you've seen so much as well. You've seen like really realistic CGI, you've seen AI now and all those different things. It's like I'm gonna second guess anything that I watch
Mm.
now anyway. So it's
I I don't believe like you know, again, it's maybe not the important stuff I should be worried that I should actually be worried about, which is the stuff I'm worrying about. But you know, film announcements or trailers or posters, unless it's from the official account on social media, like the official Warner Brothers account or the official Marvel account or anything like that, unless it's from that, I would just go, I don't, that's not real. That's
yeah.
definitely incorrect. Even if it's like a good, and it's not always a good poster or like trailer,
Yeah.
it rarely is. But if it is a good one that looks believable, I'll be like, A, is it fake? B, is it just fan made? C, is it just, yeah, I don't know. So it's annoying, isn't it? Especially when you meet someone in real life and they go, "Oh yeah, yeah, I saw a poster for naming something that definitely doesn't exist," and then you go, "That's not real, mate. That's definitely not real."
Stop saying it.
That's I've seen a poster for a Back to the Future remake with Tom Holland in the role of in the main role. No, that's not real. Well, I saw it. I saw a poster and I saw a trailer. I am chronically online, and I can guarantee you that that does not exist.
Yeah. Tom Holland would have had something to say about it on his Facebook or something, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it does, and it is annoying in a way because it has kind of ruined the magic of some things. Because you know when something does drop and they go like, "Oh, this news has just dropped about a film." It's always films with me. Like I guess there's not much else that I get that excited about, but you know what I mean. Like in terms of like a big announcement, you know, oh my
Yeah.
God, I can't believe it. This has just dropped out of nowhere. Wow. It does kind of annoy. I am annoyed at myself in a way where I'm like I can't fully open myself up to enjoy it until I'm like convinced it's real. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Even
It's that bit in Endgame with Hawkeye. It says, don't give me hope. It's like
oh God, yeah,
Yeah.
well
I
yeah,
think because I feel
anything
like
Marvel. Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like we've seen the posters for Hocus Pocus 2 and Beetlejuice 2 for the past like
we've
15
discussed.
years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, I
Yeah.
might have discussed it with you. I may have discussed it with someone else. Mums on Facebook have been going wild for Hocus Pocus 2 and Beetlejuice 2 for 10 years.
Yeah.
For 10 years. And it'll be like a picture of Michael Keaton, like horribly photoshopped to look like a new version of Beetlejuice. And you're just like, what? It even went, yeah, when it officially happened, Beetlejuice 2, here's the trailer. Here's some shots of like people on set filming it. Like they're filming it right now. I'm still like, wait a minute.
Are they though?
But yeah, but then as soon as it comes out, then it's just like, oh yeah, okay, there we go. Now it's fine. Now I feel safe.
We're here. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, but yeah, the Marvel stuff is probably the worst because you just get yeah, because we're at a point in the Marvel universe where yes, pretty much anything can happen.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
you
we've
can't trust any of the trailers now. The
no,
stuff that happens in the trailers that is specifically filmed for the trailers. So,
yeah, yeah, that's annoying.
I
That's
mean,
annoying.
it was like the big thing of Infinity War, wasn't it? Where there was that shot in the trailer of all of them like running towards the camera. Doesn't happen in the film.
Oh yeah, just like tons of people in the background weren't there.
Yeah.
That's right, isn't it? Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
like generic Wakandan soldiers, wouldn't it? It wasn't. Is that right? Yeah, but in the trailer it was everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm kind of like I kind of want to see that again now. Now you've said it. Um, Go and hunt it down. Yeah, but I guess the point I'm making is that it is totally believable that anyone watching this live stream in this film would just say fake, like because you would. We wouldn't. Yeah, it's not the Blair Witch Project anymore, where that film comes out and everyone just goes, "It's real," without a doubt. Um, yeah. So they set all this up. Everyone's got individual cameras on. But there have been. Is it true that it's revealed to the audience, but not the live stream viewers or the women in the group, that um they've scripted out a ghost hunting scenario just like in all their previous Horror Times videos, including planting scares and viewers. And it says here for the women to react to.
That's it. Yeah.
We're gonna get the ladies terrified, all right? Because all the blokes, they're not gonna bat an eyelid at these scares because they're hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they know what's going on, and also because they made it all, so they are not going to get scared and get decent reactions out of them. But
yeah, bit mean, isn't it?
yeah,
Um, oh yeah, they find a big pair of pants, big
that's
pair
fun.
of big pair of underwear. What's the relevance of this?
I don't know, but they tie it on a branch, and they're like, "That's going to lead us back to the camp." I'm like, "Is it though? Is it?" Because I mean, if you've got several pairs of pants, then fair play. But
Imagine that they're like in the moment when you're absolutely terrified and you're like, oh God, and you go look for the massive like I'm
granny,
gonna misremember this, Stu, and forgive me if I have big old silky granny knickers. Look for the
yeah,
big old granny silky knickers.
and that's how you get.
Just look for them. Uh, yeah, that's funny, isn't it? It's weird how like random underwear always seems to appear in like places like this in the woods and stuff. I remember spotting some kecks. You're like, what's going on here? What's the story? How's this happened?
Or a
I can
shoe,
imagine.
just one singular shoe.
One singular shoe, a singular glove. Yeah, it's a sad story, really, isn't it? Someone's out there with no underwear slash one shoe, none the wiser. Um, okay, so inside, so a couple of things they do, like Charlotte, she pours holy water into this dish to like record the water's reactions. What does the water do?
Nothing until the end.
It does
Nothing.
absolutely nothing.
Does nothing until it all kicks off, and then the water starts simmering.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Which,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Evil is afoot.
Yeah.
Um,
Evil wants a brew.
evil, evil wants a brew. Oh, chuck a Yorkshire tea bag in this, please, will you? Two sugars, please, please.
Little petri dish of tea.
A lovely, delicious petri dish of tea, 3 centimeters deep. Ooh, it doesn't quite hit the spot, unfortunately. I guess like the first two-thirds of this film are like um quite standard found footage fare. Like it is kind of like it does that thing where it sets up a scenario and kind of does make you understand. It sets up the scenario, but also allows you to suspend your disbelief in a way because here are somebody setting up the scares. This is all fake. It's being streamed. Everyone knows.
Yeah,
Um,
they kind of spend time showing you where all the cameras are going to be. So like where they've set up cameras in the corner, and this is the shower room, and this is the office and stuff like that. So they start to sort of set up
yeah,
scenarios, but also they're kind of showing you where they're going to be going back to, I suppose, like where things are going to be kicking off,
yeah.
because they're like sectioning off certain parts of the asylum for it.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, that's right. So they go into that director's office as well, which is where they find this group photo of all the patients and staff, which is behind me. Horrible. It is
Yeah,
horrible.
it's horrible.
Where's the little dolly? Oh yeah. So there's there's a fella with the little dolly. He look. I mean, that guy looks totally fine. He looks
Yeah.
absolutely fine. If I saw him, I'd go, "Listen, mate. I think you've done your time. You can leave." Um. Yeah. And then obviously, then they find the doll in the lab area.
Hmm.
How did they find out that the doll like moved on its own as well? Was it kind of
I think they didn't they go to somewhere either upstairs afterwards, and it was in it was like in the sort of same room but above kind of thing or something like that. It was like
yeah. See, because there
uh,
are a few things like that, aren't there, where they're like t displacement of time and more like because with the underwear, I just remembered later on they do. There is a moment where they're like, look for the underwear, and then they go past it like more than once. I wasn't sure whether that meant that they were running in circles or whether it was like a like a Blair Witch scenario where they were stuck in some sort of weird like displaced time loop slash place loop. That's
yeah,
probably not the
could just be
right word. What was
could
that?
just could just be really stupid. Just-
Yeah, they could just be really stupid. But I don't know. With that and with the doll obviously moving as well, I kind of
yeah,
thought, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm
I
making
think
assumptions on
it's
that.
kind of trying to say that something is like keeping them there. It's almost
Yeah, yeah.
like in Grave Encounters where the staircase would disappear or a door would disappear and stuff like that. It's like this asylum's like trying to
That's
keep
horrible.
you. Yeah,
That's scary. That
yeah,
is scary. Like that is like going from because I think in almost every scenario you'd convince yourself that you'd been got lost or something like that.
yeah,
But like if that actually happened, you'd just be like, Jesus Christ, this is scary. I'm scared. I'm scared. So obviously, yeah, the doll is in that picture as well, being held by one of the patients. Um, one guy, Ha-joon, stays like in a campsite, right?
yeah, yeah.
Just
So he's like the sort of the guy in the chair. He's like the one that's sort of directing the whole thing and keeping the stream going and stuff. But
he's the
it's like a
oracle.
weird shot of him like in the tent, and the sort of the tent is like sort of flapping in the wind behind him, so you're constantly like looking in the background like,
Yeah,
oh, is
yeah,
someone going to be there? And yeah,
yeah,
he's sort of in the very corner of the screen, so you're just looking for something to appear.
yeah. I mean, there's a few things that go wrong. There's like glitches, power outages, um, the like burners of the like the propane burners things like switch on randomly at one point, like really high.
Yeah,
Um, Dangerous, of course. Fire hazard, especially in the middle in the a tent, no matter how big it is. Um, yeah, and there's times when he's trying to communicate with the group, and like when his equipment shorts out, he's like sort of like on his own. And again, yeah, I think we assume that he's going to end up isolated and maybe like be the first victim, for example. But I kind of like it that they never really do that with him, do they?
yeah, they just sort of they keep him alive, but also he's just kind of he's the mastermind behind it all. But then after a while, he's like, oh, I'm going to have to go in there myself, kind of thing.
I'll do it myself. Let me in. So Je-yoon and Ah-yeon try to open the door to room 402. Other people are exploring the group treatment room. There's like these weird coffins with holes in them. I guess are we supposed to believe that people were getting put in the coffins and I don't know what was happening. They were getting scarabs poured on them like in The Mummy. No! I mean, clearly, I think in any horror movie where there's an asylum, you always find out that something dodgy's been going on, don't you? Like, oh yeah, there's some patients here. Have they been treated with dignity and respect? No. Have they been getting experimented on essentially? Yes.
Have they all had a lobotomy just because they wanted to figure out whether they could? And
Yeah.
yeah, it's always that, and it's always like the sort of electroshock therapy as well. That's one that always pops up, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's
No one's
always
ever gone into a haunted asylum and gone, everyone lived a lovely life here. It's fine. It is
yeah.
haunted, but all the ghosts are nice, friendly.
Yeah, look at all their
Oh,
diaries. They all had a lovely time. They had Sky
oh yeah, all
TV.
their
They had
diaries.
like 3 square meals a day. They all seemed really happy in all the photos.
Yeah. They
Yeah,
didn't write all over the walls.
yeah. It's haunted, but in a really cute way. I
In
get.
a really cute way, a really
Yeah,
aesthetic way.
yeah.
Uh, so, oh yeah, Ji-hyun puts her hand in a hole and her hand gets pulled in and she like gets scratched. Forgive me if I'm getting this wrong. Was there a bit where like something collapsed from this in the ceiling and we saw some hair like hanging through the ceiling? Did that happen?
Yeah, yeah.
That did happen, didn't it? Again, another very, very J horror thing. I know again when this is Korean, but hair is incredibly poignant in films like that. And I feel like it just works, doesn't it? It does work because just seeing hair, like you automatically go, well, someone's attached to that. It's not
Yeah.
just it's not just like a hairball hanging through. There's someone up there. Um,
Oh, someone's just snatching wigs and just throwing them up on.
someone's snatching wigs. Someone's getting their wigs snatched. Um, Oh yeah, so when she gets her hand put in the hole, she gets like pulled and scratched.
Yeah, yeah.
Again, she is like, is this their plan? It isn't at this point, is it?
No,
No.
that's because I don't think the guys who planned it are around at that point. I think it's just the girls, isn't it, who they like break off when she gets her arm scratched, and it's
Yeah.
like really sort of deep, like long scratches all the way down her forearm.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely looks painful. So
Yeah.
what were their plans for the actual things that they were trying to
Well, I think they were trying to.
scares
Well,
that they were trying to set up?
yeah, I think well, one of the scares that they were trying to set up was the room that was covered in bells that had like all
Mm.
the sort of strings going everywhere.
Yeah.
And they were going to try and scare them, and then they did a ritual, and it went
Yeah.
horribly wrong.
Oh, I could like try a bit harder. What how are you gonna scare them? We'll have a series of bells go off.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. And then what? That was it, to be fair. Just nine bells just go off in a row. That's how shit. Go back to the drawing board. Get something better than that. Get matey boy who's in the tent. Get him to dress up as something. Come on.
yeah. I think that. I mean, as a set piece, it looked amazing. As a like,
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true.
it looked really cool because the sort of red string everywhere and all these sort of bells and stuff. And then they
A
were,
lot of
and
effort to have set that up though.
yeah. I mean, you must have been in there for quite a while to do all of the different scenarios of the
Yeah.
trial.
And then why didn't you get haunted in that particular instance? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They wanted to wait till there was an audience,
exactly.
even if it was just 503 people.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't go in there at night time to set up a load of bells and strings, so I'd be going there in the day
Oh
anyway.
yeah, in the daytime with just yeah. Even then,
Yeah.
is not particularly pleasant, is it? Um. So what happens after that happens? So yeah, so some of them decide to abandon the project. One is Ji-hyun and Charlotte. They decide to abandon. Ha-joon is reviewing the footage of all six participants when they were standing together. Um, and he's like, "Who's filmed this then? All of us are in shot. Who's filmed this bit?" There's like a rogue cameraman. It's like, "Woo."
With no pants on.
Okay, so mental asylum patients, you're haunting these guys, yeah? Who's operated a camera before? Because we need one of you in there getting the B-roll. Do you know what I mean? Come on, terrified, are you? Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's a good. And also, I feel like that's something I'd never noticed. I reckon if that was how someone, I'd be too stupid to notice that I was being haunted in that manner. I'd be like, there we all are together. Don't we look great? That's
Yeah, I
it.
think that they put it onto like a pedestal or something. They put it onto something to rest there, and then when they review the footage and they say, "Well, who's filming us?" I'm like, "Well, who put down the camera?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who put down the camera? They've made a silly assumption that that camera that's just been put down is obviously being manned by a ghost.
Yeah,
God. Um, Seung-wook and Sung-hoon are unsettled from seeing the paranormal activity, what they've witnessed so far, but they continue onward with their scripted investigation. After receiving a promise from Ha-joon that they will receive more pay if they do. Well, that always happens, doesn't it? People go,
yeah. I mean, if you
double
survive,
time.
then more money's great, but if you're stuck
Yeah,
there for
you could make any promise at this point, can you? You could say, I'll pay you quadruple if you survive.
yeah,
Excuse me? What was that bit at the end you just did? Nothing. I think you
that's
said
what you're on about.
if I survive. Also, like, there's nothing worse than being offered like double time when you're like already doing the shift. Because I feel you've set up in your head when you finish, haven't you? You've gone,
Yeah, yeah.
ah, well, I finish at this time. I can't wait to get home and do this and do that. And then when someone goes, stay for a few more hours, it'd be double time. I can't get my head round it.
You're already like you're 2 hours until lunchtime. Then you got a little break. You can have a screen break in the middle and
Yeah,
stuff. No, they can't. They're stuck in an asylum now.
you're stuck in an asylum now. Sorry, lads. Um, unfortunately. So, oh yeah, they see that wheelchair moving by itself now in the basement. Um, again, you just if you knew that this was that some things you were doing were fake, you'd assume that the like everything else was fake, but someone else was doing it. Someone else was in on it,
Yeah.
stitching you up.
Yeah. I mean, unless I knew exactly what was meant to happen, and as soon as something happens that I didn't know about, I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm actually going though.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
all
you're
right.
mugging me
Nip
off
off
here.
now."
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I'm
absolutely.
stick around.
Yeah. And that's when things start floating around as well. Um, both of those lads get knocked out by flying objects. And Seung-wook, when he awakes, gets dragged off by an invisible force. I mean, it's all kicking off, isn't it? It is all kicking off at this point.
Isn't there a
Um,
bit where she does a sort of graffiti tag on
yeah,
the wall and it gets changed somehow?
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
Yeah, the ghost's like got some Tipex and then
The ghost's gone. How dare you? This is my, this is my place. This is my. How dare you come into my place and start doing that at my place of work?
yeah, she starts didn't she put something like live, laugh, love kind of thing on the
Yeah, it was.
and
Well,
then
I can't
yeah, and
remember what it was, but
it gets turned into like die. And they're like, well, I didn't write that.
die, bitch, die. Yeah, and yeah, that's aggressive. That's not very nice. Um, so Charlotte and Ji-hyun are outside. This is when they're trying to find their way back to the tent, but when they see the underwear like more than once, I mean, they must be stuck in something. I don't know how often. You can't run around in circles that easily, even if it's dark. And this is when Ji-hyun goes into like a trance, and essentially in any film where someone's got their back to you and they're unresponsive, it ain't gonna be nice what happens, is it?
Yeah,
But
just leave them there. Just let them chill, let them
yeah, I'll just go, yeah, see you later. But I feel like this as a scare was really effective. Now, I don't know if it was just because of the framing of the face or the facial expression changed drastically. It wasn't like a natural change of the it kind of just flipped like a switch went off, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and it is scary because her eyes go completely black and she does the kind of like the noise you would make to get a cat to come towards you, right?
Yeah, it's almost like half a kind of like to get oh my has just triggered my cat.
Yeah, I bet it has.
She's so what the fuck did you just say to me? And it's like half that and then half like slurping ramen noodles.
Yeah.
It's it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah. And they did have some ramen noodles earlier as well, didn't
He
they?
did.
So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But
it's all
it is
relevant.
horrible because you can't look away. It's just like her whole face is the screen, because of
Yeah,
the that's
exactly.
mounted on.
You can't look away and like yeah, it's very it is scary and Charlotte terrified runs away as you would. She tries to get back towards base camp but finds herself back in the asylum. Oh dear, I've got lost. Now I'm back at room 402.
Yeah.
Um, and is this where Ji-hyun is in the corner with the doll? I think Charlotte looks down as well, and the doll's on her foot as well.
Yeah.
It's like she really hates that doll as well. Like when someone picked it up earlier, she was like, "Please just put the doll down. It's not a
No.
laughing matter."
Yeah. Chuck it out the window.
I don't know what you do with it. It's just I wouldn't want to go near it in the first place. Chuck it out the window. I feel like I disrespected it in somehow, and still come for me.
It's true.
Yeah, terrifying. Um, okay, so while this is all kicking off, like everyone's pretty terrified. Then this is when Charlotte sees a naked man, which is can be a terrifying experience for anybody, especially when it's not expected.
Yeah, he that would be surprised by a naked man like that.
There's a naked man in the dark, kind of doing some weird sort of like sidestep slash, you know. But again, this is if this was any other film, that person would have ran straight up to the screen and screamed, you know. But this film does well at kind of like pacing the scares, I guess.
Yeah, it's a horrible feeling because as she's moving to the side and trying to move away, he's kind of scuttling with her as well at the same time. He's like moving sideways as well, and that's yeah, that was really freaky, especially because at one point I think she goes behind a pillar, and then he still keeps like popping
Oh
up, and
yeah,
yeah, it
you would
was
have to you would have to keep that person in eye shot in you know in your
yeah.
eye line at all times. Absolutely.
Yeah, that bit was probably the bit that stuck with me the most, where I was like, this is a horrible feeling where you know that she's got to try and find a door or at least a wall, but she's also got to constantly look at this guy because he's
Yeah.
basically like naked and scuttling around and
He's basically he's all naked and scuttling around.
yeah.
He just wants to find his pants, his big lady's underwear, which he's been wearing. Have you seen me massive pants? I left them around here somewhere. We've slung them up on a tree up outside.
Yeah.
You can't miss them. Well,
Yeah,
he's
don't
got.
take it because we'll get back.
You don't take them because we don't know where to get back. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, then the naked man does attack her eventually and pulls her into the darkness. Um, we've got Sung-hoon and Ji-yoon and Ah-yeon. They're all trying to get into room 402. This is when Sung-hoon and informs them and their live audience that everything they were doing before was scripted, but all these paranormal forces are real. They've been attacking them. You go, all right, mate. Pull the other one. This stuff was all fake up until a point, and
Yeah,
now everything else is real.
up until
Um,
right now, and now we're actually scared, but also don't be pissed off at me for trying to scare you for the past 3 hours.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's a boy that cried wolf scenario. A ping pong ball bounces towards them. I guess this is kind of reminiscence of something like the Changeling. If you remember the ball like going down the stairs.
Yeah.
Um, you know, something that isn't really a scary thing, a little ping pong ball, but because we know the story of the ping pong ball and what it represents and who it represents, the man who loved ping pong who also owned a mental asylum. No,
It's not a
w-
yeah,
you're here at the international ping pong tournament. What do you
and
do
it's
in your
not a
spare time?
Priscilla Queen of the Desert, so like that. It's not that kind of thing either,
Oh, right, yeah.
as far as we're aware. Um,
What do you do in your spare time? I've actually got a mental asylum that I run. Oh yeah, yeah, it's a laugh. It's great. Oh, okay. Well, which one's your true passion now? He couldn't tell you. Um, a few things happen now. I think so. Charlotte, you can hear her screaming from inside room 402. The infrared cameras start to flash, which means they detect a presence. And when room 402 opens, the screen goes dark. Um, and this is when they end up in the room like with water. It's like up to their knees.
Yeah, but there's also a pool of water that's above them, isn't there? They look up and there's like a sort of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
sky sort of
So
pool
we
of
are in some sort of weird ghost dimension when up it left is right, up is down. There's a lot of mad stuff happening.
yeah, yeah.
Um, just
Lots
these
of
kind of
people.
like dreamlike quality, and I guess like perhaps like feel a bit Silent Hill as well, like that sort of dreamlike quality, or not dreamlike, nightmarish like quality, where everything's just weird, nothing's quite right. This was probably the other scene that kind of got me. It felt very claustrophobic, and I imagined being in that situation, ghosts appearing all around them. It was like, oh God.
Yeah, because there was no sort of doors or windows or anything. It was just literally like it was almost like a sort of underground car park, wasn't it? Because there was just pits and it was
And
just
I,
water everywhere. And then every time they lifted their camera up, there was a different ghost in there, a bit like Fatal Frame, as we said before.
yeah,
Um, and
yeah,
that bit is horrible because every time they lift the camera, you don't know what's going to happen, and then sometimes there'll be nothing there, and you're just
yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm waiting for them to jump scare me," but they don't.
No,
So
no, no. The
yeah,
scares were like, even scares that were like could have been jump scares. It would linger on a face for long enough that it wasn't like a jump scare. It was as effective as a jump scare, but for the right reasons. Like you were just going, and again, people were reacting in the way you would, like literally just screaming or just like frozen or shaking.
yeah,
Yeah,
just trying to sort of hide their face sometimes as well. Like they just sort of duck down and just try and like
yeah.
up
And
in a
again,
ball.
you would, wouldn't you? Yeah, you
Yeah,
you you would kind of like just close your eyes until it went away. That's what we used to do when we were kids when we were scared. If you thought someone was in your room with you, you'd hide under the blankets, just close your eyes and just wait for it to go away, whatever it was. Most of the time it was nothing, of course. Most of the time. Sounds a bit dark. Yeah, but when this is happening, the ghosts are appearing, they get like possessed one after the other. You see their eyes going black. Um, X-Files style, the old oily eyes.
yeah.
And they get
Oh, the bit that kind of freaks me out as well is that they when the fingers come out of their hair, like the
mm,
around the face. It's almost like someone's sort of, grabbing their skull from behind, but
mm.
it's, they just sort of like appear and these sort of fingers like squeezing their face a little bit. It's pretty gross.
Yeah, again, like very reminiscent of something like The Grudge, fingers and
Yes.
hair. These are all visuals that I think translate really well across all horror. I feel like something like J horror made it very popular, but I feel like whenever you see it in anything, I feel like it is effective. Um, so Ha-joon sees his view count. Well, it says here sees his view count reaching nearly 1 million views. Goes to investigate. I'll get strangled to death. So this is obviously the ghosts again going, whack the views up, whack the views up.
Yeah.
We got to get him on his own. We got to drag him in. And one of the ghosts is good at operating a camera.
Yeah.
Uh,
One of the ghosts is like and subscribe, guys. Like and
one
subscribe.
one of the guys is good at like YouTube algorithms going, right, get in there and manipulate those stats
Yeah.
because as soon as Ha-joon sees this, he's going to be chomping at the bit. No matter what's going on, he's going to need to see it with his own eyes. Um, and the ghost that strangles him to death looks like the ghost of the director herself. Um, the director got killed as well by bloody old ping pong man.
Yeah. All of them.
Yeah,
They'll
I
get
wonder
wiped out.
how do you do it? Did he just? Because I feel like if you just smash a ping pong ball at someone's head, you'd have to do it for like a month straight before you break the skin.
Yeah. Before you even bruise them.
Yeah,
Unless he was
uh,
doing it with the ping pong, like the paddle thing.
that's
Just
true. After a couple of weeks, he went, "Hang on a minute, this is much better." Bang. Um, so the only person remaining is Sung-wook, and he is the one who was the man in the chair, isn't he? That was that guy.
yeah. So he's like kind of orchestrated it all, but once he
Yeah.
sees that everyone's disappeared,
Yeah. But again,
um,
I thought it was interesting because I assumed that the way they framed this was that he was going to be the first one gone, but no.
no, he
Um,
goes in there with his drone. He's like flies his
Yeah,
drone.
get the drone out. Oh, this again, this is another found footage. As soon as the drone became a thing, found footage went great. Gimme. I want it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's put in everything. Obviously, so we covered the Blair 2016 Blair Witch a little while ago,
Yes.
and the drone is very prevalent.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Get stuck in the tree. I
Get
remember
stuck
that.
in the tree, yeah. Um, so yeah, what happens? What happens next with? Yeah, oh, he finds himself strapped to like the wheelchair, doesn't he?
Yeah, so he like originally he puts the drone up onto the floor where it would have been 402, I think, and he
Mm.
sees someone like waving in the window. Um
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh God, I need to go up there." And he apparently goes up to that room and he keeps setting off all the sensors to get to that room, and then he finds out that the person who
yeah.
was waving was him.
I love that though.
Yeah,
That is we get that loads, I know, in stuff, but I like it. I think whenever it happens, it's cool.
yeah.
Like
The horrible realization that you're like, ah,
the horrible
shit.
realization that it's already played out.
Yeah.
Like your what's going to happen to you has already played out, and you can't escape it. And by you participating in it, it's just creepy. It's just very creepy in it. It's like, and again, these found footage things where there's like parallel universes or like time loops and stuff. Like I know Blair Witch was what kind of set that up as a thing, but I just think it's really effective
Hmm.
because, I guess ghostly dimensions are not, they don't exist in the same way that we would perceive anyway. So,
I think it works best in found footage movies because they're like like in essence realistic.
mm,
They're watching something that you identify as like, oh yeah, I could be making this. This is how it would look if I was making a
yeah,
camera. So something like a time loop or a time shift or like something disappearing that was there before happens when you're physically doing it, then it's going to be scarier. It's going to feel more
yeah,
like more freaky because this could happen to me kind of thing. Whereas if it's something that happens in a movie that's, scripted and has like, normal camera setup and everything like that, and they say, "Oh yeah, we're stuck in a time loop." It's like, okay, that's fine, but we've
yeah.
got a point of reference kind of thing because
You'd need someone to say in the actual dialogue, "Oh my God, I think we're stuck in a time loop." You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
Like that's the only way you'd be able to make sense of it because like traditional edits would would like that wouldn't necessarily make sense, would it? Yeah.
yeah, and
Um,
it's because you've got those like with found footage movies, you have the time code as well. So you have like a time code and the date and the time on the cameras and stuff. So it's like when you're noticing things like that, you're thinking, oh yeah, okay, they've been there for way longer. Why is it still dark, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It's good. It's effective. I like it. And I think this does it well as well. Um so he's the last one to be pulled into room 402. The epilogue kind of shows that despite everyone's continued broadcast, the live stream cut off after he admitted the stream was supposed to be scripted. So the viewers like are just like, oh, mocking the failed stream. There's comments popping up, obviously saying fake, as you said. The
Yeah.
view count peaked at 503 viewers instead of the near million. So you've been bloody stitched up, haven't you? And yeah, in the final scene, we see that dish of holy water starting to boil. Now the ghost had killed everyone, so now they're getting the brews on, ready
Yeah.
to enjoy. And
Put
they
the kettle
go,
on.
get a kettle on. Until next time. Until next time, yeah. Yeah, but there we go. That's Gonjiam, um, Haunted Asylum. In terms of rating this one, Stu, how would you like to rate it? So it'll be A to F, pluses and minuses allowed. Rate good or rate bad.
Oh, do you know what? I reckon it's like a solid like a B minus for me.
Okay.
Like it's good and it's one that pleasantly surprised me and still even like I've watched it a couple of times now and it still has bits that really freak me out and scare me.
Mm.
And even though I've seen Grave Encounters like a million times, that's probably one of my favorite found footage ones, and it is very similar to that. It still
Yeah,
has
it's very
moments
similar.
where it's it does frighten me. So yeah, it's definitely up there. I reckon like B minus for me. What about you?
Yeah, I was thinking B minus because I think for a while it is kind of standard found footage fare, it's stuff we've seen before. Um, it plays out, someone's faking it, and then someone they find out we're faking it, and oh no, now it's real. But I feel like by the time some of the scares start happening, like they happen in such a way that genuinely did affect me, um, weren't kind of traditional in terms of like jump scares and any moments like that. Everything kind of played out in a way that felt quite realistic, I suppose. Like if something like this was were to happen, I think the performances were all good because I genuinely felt their terror, like for the
Yeah.
most part. And yeah, those little things like time loop slash parallel universe, all that sort of stuff, I enjoy that. I find it really cool and creepy. So
Yeah.
I was gonna say a B minus as well, just because I think everything else before things started kicking off didn't really do anything different for me. But yeah, it's a good one. Is there a sequel to this?
I don't think so. I
No,
haven't seen anything of it. It's weird that, like I said, it obviously because it came out in 2018,
2018.
but didn't really get its dues, and no one really sort of started talking about it until maybe 2021.
Mm. Yeah,
And
yeah,
it,
yeah. I think you're
yeah,
right.
it got a huge resurgence. And originally I had to watch it by other means because it wasn't available over
Mm.
here. So we had to sort of download it in the pandemic. And then now literally a few weeks ago when I was talking to you about it,
Mm.
um, it popped up on Amazon Prime, just randomly like recommended it to me. And I was like, wait, holy shit, I can actually rent this. I can watch it.
Hell yeah.
And I went into the HMV and it's now on Blu-ray. It's like a special edition Blu-ray. So it's just all of a sudden had this massive resurgence, which it deserves to be honest. It deserves to be, seen by a wider audience, I think now.
Yeah, 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 definitely. Um, okay, so I mean I didn't prepare any name game, but I've got a couple of bits of trivia just for us to discuss. So the film, a critical and financial success, is apparently the third most watched horror film in South Korea after, can you name any of them? One of them I've never heard of actually, so maybe you can't name any of them.
No, I can't think of what they would be, to be honest.
The first one is a film called Phone,
Oh,
2002 movie called Phone. Um, I don't think I've seen this one. No, directed by Byung-ki An. No, I was thinking, is it like Phone Booth? Is it like is it what Colin Farrell movie based itself off of? Maybe not. And the other one is A Tale of Two Sisters. I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't actually. No, it is on my list. It's one that I want to see,
A
but
Tale of Two Sisters is very good, a very good psychological horror film, and I guess some like similar sort of scares as well, like scares that force you to look at the scares that don't allow you a moment to look away. They kind of go, "Here's the scare. Keep looking, keep looking. Yep, it's still on screen. Now you can look away." It was inspired by an article on CNN called "The Seven Freakiest Places on the Planet." Uh, Sedlec Ossuary is one of them. That was one which I think Charlotte mentioned in the Czech Republic.
yeah.
It kind of looks a little bit like the sort of places in Paris, like the catacombs in Paris, kind of like bones everywhere.
You seen
Um,
that movie? The Catacombs movie, the one with Pink in it?
as above, so below.
No.
I've seen that. There's another one.
There's another one.
What?
There's one called Catacombs, and it has Pink in, but with her normal name, and she's not flipping around doing
Oh my
circus
God.
wiry stuff. She's like,
She
she's
Pink, get done. Pink.
doing Pink. She's
What are you doing up there? There's not one of your songs where you need to be doing that up there, flipping around. I've never heard of this. What on
Yeah,
earth?
yeah, it's great, honestly. Strangely enough, it was a movie that my mum saw in a charity shop years ago. I just bought it on a whim and started watching it. Was like, I'm pretty sure that's Pink, and then gave it to me, and I was like,
No
oh wait,
way.
Alicia something is her name.
Alicia
It turned
Moore?
out to be great. They go to some kind of rave under.
Yeah, it looks like some sort of catacombs rave.
Yeah, there you go. And
Going to a rave at a catacombs? Yeah, I'm on my way.
yeah, exactly. And then it all goes a bit tits up. But yeah, that's another one. It's great.
Interesting. I've never heard of that. Isn't it weird when some sort of like music pop star or like musician or something just like seems to just be in one film and then goes, you know what, actually, this ain't for me.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be in anything ever again.
Yeah.
So the other freakiest places are Chernobyl Amusement Park, the Aikigahara Forests. I think that's the suicide forest, isn't it? Suicide Forest, Sea of Trees. Um, Akadeswa Fetish Market in Togo, which is apparently the birthplace of voodoo. It's where they've got loads of voodoo dolls.
Fun.
Um, La Isla de las Muñecas in Lake Mexico. I think that's where Charlotte said she'd been as well. Island of the Dolls. Um, there's just a gruesome island. Well, it says gruesome, but it's just creepy dolls knocking about. That's it. Battleship Island, Nagasaki, Japan.
Okay.
Um, which is just like 60,000 square meters chunk of ruined in the sea, and then Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital in Korea. So yeah, apparently it was inspired by that list. Someone looked at that list and they went, "Oh," and then they got to the end. They went, "Oh, I'm in Korea. You know what? Get yourself straight down to the Gonjiam Psychiatric Hospital. It's going to be a right laugh down
Yeah,
there."
they could have made a whole franchise by just going through that CNN list and ticking them all off.
Yeah. The final bit of trivia in the ending scenes of the film. The live stream website's visible. If you watch closely, it's got 1,234 plays with 56 likes, 78 shares, and 910 comments. In order, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stu.
Yes.
What does it mean? Could it mean? Could it mean? I mean, that's not a piece of trivia, really, is it? That's just a thing. Do you know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
like,
something that they did. They just decided that it looked cool.
yeah. Uh, there we go. Um, So yeah, I'll go. What did I say? B minus. That's fair, I think. So yeah, that was fun. Enjoyed it. Thanks for um hooking me up with that one, Stu. As
Very
I said,
well.
it was on a list, but as soon as you said you better check it out, I thought, yeah, let's do. I won't just check it out. I'll do an episode on it. Why not? Um, we do this at the end of every episode, Stu. But where can our listeners find more from you online on YouTube mainly? I know.
Yeah, so most of it, if you search for StewTube, so it's STOOTOOB, StewTube. I tend to do like mostly horror related stuff because all the horror stuff gets the most views on my channel. So if I deviate ever so slightly, the algorithm says no.
No.
And doesn't show it to many people. So anything that's horror related tends to be pretty good on my channel for getting into people's algorithms. Fair enough.
Yeah,
So yeah, I recently did
absolutely.
videos on 10 vampire movies that you've never seen, 10 witch movies that you've never seen, and alien movies, all sorts of things. So I've been doing like specific ones. And now I'm
Hmm.
going to go back to just, generic horror recommendations. And I am going to do another found footage top 10 or another found footage like list of movies that you've probably never seen. So that'll be like my fourth one, I think,
Hmm.
for that genre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're always good videos for kind of seeing films where you go, oh yeah, I should really watch that. Or sometimes films you never heard of. Not sure if you've done Catacombs starring Pink on any of your videos, but I've never heard of that before. So
Oh, yeah. So maybe I should, but I'll have to use that TikTok. Get done.
Pink, get done. Terrifies me that does. That's a horror film in itself. Pink flying around like a Catherine wheel.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, Stu. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure.
And thanks everybody for listening. If you enjoyed the show, become a patron over at patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to all our patrons. Thanks to Taj Easton for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Please consider giving us a rating or review on any podcasting platform. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube. And we've got a website now, horrorhangout.co.uk. If you can find all of that stuff in one place. But yeah, search Horror Hangout Podcast. You'll find us. Next week, it's Terrifier 3. I know, kind of crazy. We've never covered Terrifier 1 or 2 on this show, but you know, we got to get on the hype train eventually. And joining us is special guest Elizabeth Bishop, who we met at Fright Fest, and she recently attended the UK premiere of that film, so lots to find out about that. Join us then. Uh, Thanks again, Stu. A pleasure. Be
Thank you. Take care.
careful. And if you need to find your way home at any point, any time, hang a big old pair of silky ladies' underhosen on the tree, and and that shall guide you home.
None of this Google Maps rubbish. Big old pants.
Big old pants, but don't get stuck in circles, seeing the same pants over and over again. Embarrassing. All right, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.